What's up, guys? How are you? Chris Mortimer from the yachthunter.com. Today talking to you about why yachts are always so darn overpriced. And the answers are going to make a lot of sense to you if you watch the video all the way through, but you're going to say, this is so stupid and so inefficient, and that's what I tell so many people. So the 4 reasons of why they're normally overpriced are: the first reason, and the biggest offense, is because your broker has no control over the owner. A lot of the times, an owner gets to name their price, what they think their yacht is worth. But the brokers, the ones who study the market, are in tune with the market, should be telling the owner how much their boat is worth. But what happens at the end of the day is it's a very cutthroat industry. It's really tough. So you want to do whatever you can to get that listing, secure that listing, and hope that you can wrestle down your seller later on. Unfortunately, what happens is this seller asks too much money because he confuses upgrades with maintenance costs. Next thing you know, the whole market is manipulated or a little bit too steepened when it really shouldn't be from the beginning. So that's a big part of it. Just the other day, I was confronted by a couple brokers from one particular company. They said, Chris, we really don't like the way you put out your videos. We understand why and how it helps your clients, but you're making our lives harder. And I said, well, I mean, not for anything, I can show you the numbers of why your boats are so much more overpriced than the rest of the market. And they said, well, sometimes, an owner is going to want more money and you have to make it work. And I'm like, no, that's not the answer at all. It's what you're telling them during the initial sale. You're setting the expectations improperly, which is then making your future customers buy at a higher price point than they really should. So it sets inefficiency and a bad precedent. The second reason is pretty similar. If you buy high on the way in, well, you're going to try and sell high on the way out, and that's not the way it works. What ends up happening is these boats end up sitting on the market for extended periods of time, and then the owner has to take an eventual much larger haircut than they anticipated because they're going to have to give in to the other boats that have been selling on the market at the efficient price. They're going to wind up very dissatisfied at the end of the day. The third reason a yacht could be so overpriced is typical rules of supply and demand. There's times where people say, hey Chris, I'm looking for this particular boat, but I don't really see any out on the market. How can you help me track it down? And when that happens at the end of the day, well, you're going to be looking at paying a premium because chances are there's going to be one or someone who doesn't have it listed and they're going to say, yeah, I'm not really ready to sell, but I will at the right figure. And that's what happens with that. The fourth reason of why yachts are so overpriced is what I call market manipulation. This is when you're going to see one particular company or dealer dominating a lot of the second-hand sales. What happens when you're a dealer of a new product is you make a lot more money selling a new boat. So you're trying to convince anyone to buy a new boat. So if the used boat prices are pretty high or above where they should be, it's much easier to convince someone that you want to go ahead and buy a new one. So again, this is not how an efficient market works, and that's why competition is such a good thing. But you're going to take notice now moving forward. If a lot of the same boats you're looking for are controlled by the company that's also the dealer, you're going to see a correlation there, and it should be clear as day. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I am getting a lot of slack from a lot of manufacturers and dealers saying, hey, you're making our life tougher. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to cooperate with them. Is it a very important piece of the business model for me to be liked and get along with people? It is, but all I really care about is my buyer, my client, you on the other end of this video doing your research to make sure that you're not taken advantage of. So I say this all the time, is you can say you're a good guy, you can say you're doing the right thing until you're blue in the face, but you have to consistently do it. And that's why this channel is built on transparency and trying to show you the mistakes that other people make so you don't do it. So with that said, Chris Mortimer from the yachthunter.com. Be sure to check out this video and my website for other great yacht purchasing details. Happy yachting, my friend.